Hey, I'm Courtside Kenny, and I'm here to recap the women's basketball game between the South Carolina Gamecocks and the Mississippi State Bulldogs. The Cocks had me nervous there for a little bit. Dawn Staley, what are you doing? But I'm going to recap each quarter for you, go through all of it. We'll have a little commentary in between. And if you haven't seen this one, it gets juicy around the second and third quarter, so don't dip out on me. There's some really nice stuff in the fourth quarter, too. So let's jump right in. Man, we started the game regular, and by that I mean we got off to the same ass slow start that we keep on getting up to. Nobody could hit a shot, nobody could make a layup, nobody could make a bunny again. Trying to demand the ball. And Mississippi State took full advantage. And Jacayla Jordan, oh, she was cooking us. She was dicing us up like it was her job. They were up 10-7 at this point, and when she hit a three, the crowd went wild. And let's be clear, we looked crazy. We looked fucking crazy. After a string of misses, Malaysia comes in, and I'm thinking, okay, great. This is where we need her as a microwave scorer off the bench. And then I don't know if it was the team playing down to the competition or the fact that it's 2 p.m. on a Sunday or what, but we are just not looking good. Leigh is just not looking good. The starters are just not looking good. And Leigh is kind of struggling on both sides. I mean, and it kind of feels like maybe she was forcing it. Those other girls were getting highlight plays, and that's Malaysia's thing. You know what I'm saying? We're doing highlights. So I think that she wanted to come back and do a highlight, but it wasn't working out for her. It is what it is, and we had a few bright spots with Raven, with Tessa, and with Joyce.
Johnson going all the way, and that's an easy layup for Raven.
But near the end of the first quarter, Mississippi State switched to a zone defense. I mean, and that really confused us. I mean, it slowed us down. We didn't know what we were doing on defense. We didn't know what we were doing on offense. This really was not working. And by the end of the first quarter, we were down 22-13. We looked crazy. Okay, then the second quarter started, and it felt like, okay, we might be getting some momentum. You know what I mean? We're getting stops. But nobody scored until the 8:46 mark. And then Joyce finally gets us on the board. We're playing better defense, but we're still missing shots. And Tahina and Tessa had some wide open threes. I mean, they were wide open that just didn't fall. And I think this is where you started to feel hopeful because, I mean, whatever you were doing, whatever change you made, it was kind of working. It just wasn't showing up yet. But Mississippi State, they knew what we were trying to do, and they weren't letting us go on mini runs. And then in the second quarter, things took a turn. Ashlyn went to take a shot, and she came down grabbing her knee.
And a foul called on a cut.
And it looked innocent at first. She was fine until it wasn't. The broadcasters said her left leg buckled. She was on the floor. I didn't see a buckle, but, it's even worse when it's non-contact, right? But she got up eventually. It took a long time for her to get up. Dawn and them had to come out. She got up eventually. She goes to the back. Didn't look good. And unfortunately, we've learned that her season will be ending with a torn ACL. Now, this is the question. Are we going to fold, or is anyone else going to step up? Enter Chloe.
And she dunks. They want a caught open to shoot. Kitts with the rebound and one. Chloe Kitts.
Chloe comes in, reminds everyone who she is. I mean, y'all remember who she was at the beginning of the season. Mrs. Double Double. You know what I mean? And so that's kind of what she looked like. She started to pick up the slack. She started to hit some clutch shots. Then Tessa. We're going to talk about Tessa. It was 3-time with Tessa. 4 times back to back, she made a shot. And that's when it started to get crazy. Tessa hit 4 in a row. It was raining threes out there. It has been so long since I've seen us hit threes at a clip like that. And they really carried us, Chloe and Tessa.
Cold a little bit, but South Carolina, great job.
Mississippi State started missing shots, and by halftime, we were back up 42-34.
11-point lead one time in this half. But we have played 20 minutes of basketball, and Dawn Staley's team is over.
Okay, so by the third quarter, we still didn't have an update on Ashlyn, but it was confirmed she wouldn't return. Chloe and Sanaya started the third, and we began to really clamp down on defense. Mississippi State did not score for almost 8 minutes, y'all. It was all about the defensive stops and easy transition buckets. The layups and the mid-range shots started falling for us too, and it was really nice to see. We started to clamp down, and like I've always said, with our defense comes offense, and we really started to look like the number 1 team in the nation. Chloe continued to put on a show in the third.
Determined. And gets the officials today doing a fantastic job. Kits, catches, shoots, timeout on the floor.
Malaysia came back and looked better in third. She was more composed, she was passing more, and focusing on getting her teammates involved a little more. And I think that's really one of the things that Dawn is trying to teach her. But it's not happening for you. Pass the ball. You're a phenomenal passer. You're a phenomenal playmaker. Give somebody else the ball. And she was giving people the ball. Now listen, we got to start finishing layups, okay? Because she has given us some dimes. But we'll get there again in Jesus' name. Mississippi State just managed about 11 points overall in the quarter, while we poured it on, I think, maybe 26 points. So by the end of the third, we were up 68-45, and really the third was a matter of being a defensive clinic. I mean, we really just shut them down. We really got them out of it, and it started to feel really familiar, where it's like you can't keep up with the depth of the Gamecocks. And so Mississippi State started to understand they couldn't keep up with the Gamecocks, and they started to look like it. So that fourth quarter was about closing it out, finishing it strong. Malaysia and Chloe started things off with a really beautiful play. There was a lot of time left. Mississippi State tried to put together a run, and they started making shots. And like I said, we were kind of just going through the motions. And before you knew it, it was a closer game than we could say.
That is a three-pointer.
It's been a lot of fun watching Raven Johnson continue to develop.
So we got serious again. We shut that down quickly.
In and out. Player of the year, four-time state player of the year in South Carolina. She does it on the defensive end as well.
You got to reward her, get the ball back to her. But not if you got a wide open pow out of her eye.
Inside to get everybody on the same page, so pay attention to that.
Sometimes it's your point guard, but if you're on the floor.
And then I was looking at Mississippi State, and I liked a lot of what they had. I also did like Jacayla Jordan. But one thing is that, you know, she was all animated in that first quarter, but by now she was quiet, okay? Her arms were crossed. She wasn't feeling it. And that's why you don't do all that showboating early, baby. Yeah. Adele Tack came in maybe with like 2 minutes left and made some solid contributions with boards and hustle plays.
Player able to knock down three-point shots. You've got to guard that three-point line.
But we really kept the pressure on until the end, and we just dribbled it out here for a really dominant-looking 95-68 win. And it looked dominant, that final score, but we had to work for that. So shout out to the girls for doing that, the women's, doing what they had to do. It was almost a 30-point win, but let's be honest, we didn't play great to start the game. And these slow starts could start to catch up with us, and I'm getting a little, nervous about that, especially with tougher competition coming up in the SEC. But there is some solace in knowing we can rely on that bench, that we can rely on people like Tessa to step up. And everyone is always going to play their role. So shout out to Dawn Staley and the South Carolina Gamecocks. I really don't know how she does it. I was freaking out in that first quarter there. But whatever. If you like these recaps, check the one I did of the previous game versus Mizzou here. That one was really tough. Like, share, and subscribe. And if you are looking for dope women's basketball merch, check out my website, courtsidekenny.com. Again, I'm Courtside Kenny, and thanks for watching.